I just want to jump right in today because I'm interested to see what I'm going to have to say. I have no idea sometimes. I have a general sense, but there's always something that I wish to communicate, the details of which are unknown to me until they come out of my face. For the history of humans, up until a few hundred years ago, there was this sense of, by modern men, that the ancients lived in a weird, inaccurate, delusional, superstitious sort of condition. And they made things up and they came up with ideas that were not based on logic or reason or reality. And then a few hundred years ago, some very bright peoples started to develop instruments. And these were instruments that actually extended our empirical senses. We began to develop telescopes and microscopes and various things to measure, well, everything. I don't think I need to elaborate that point. I think that's rather obvious that when humans began to extend their senses, they began to see far deeper into a reality that was unknown to our five empirical senses. And we began to discover what reality is. And that was an amazing thing that we were able to do that, and it led to our capacity to clear up so much confusion, superstition, delusion, misunderstanding about things. And it gave us and continues to give us great power over a physical reality. So that much is quite true. Now, one of the things they discovered in the 20th century is they continuously extended their telescopes and microscopes to see bigger and smaller ranges. Is that somewhere around the 1930s, they discovered that they could not use their instruments to conduct an experiment. In other words, it became impossible. This is important. It became impossible to conduct an experiment in any way that was not influenced by the one observing the experiment. Let me say that again. It became impossible to conduct an experiment that was not fundamentally influenced by the one who was observing it. This became known as the observer effect in quantum mechanics. And it may be like, well, who cares about that? I don't deal with quantum mechanics. I have things to do today. But the reality that the way that we observe something shapes what we observe might be, of all the discoveries of science, the profound discoveries of science in the last 300 or 400 years, that might be the most profound one, because what it's saying in effect is that there's not really an external objective reality that's different from ourselves. And so getting back to the topic this week, that we have these senses that extend out into the world and we interpret reality. Now, what I'm saying, what I'm claiming, what I'm declaring, what I'm outrageously saying, but if you contemplate it and take this great spiritual truth to heart, it's not an external world that we're interpreting, it's an external world that we're shaping. Now, how could I make such a claim? Well, you put two people in exactly the same environment and they may interpret an exactly different environment. One person may find it to be heavenly and the other person may find it to be hell. What's another example of this? Brothers or sisters growing up in the same family and then reporting an entirely different experience of growing up. So the claim that's being made today is that your senses could be used to engage the observer effect, meaning that the way that you see, feel, taste, touch, and smell, or what you want to see, feel, taste, touch, and smell, along with all the other senses that are available to move out into the world, they can become the great influencers, shapers, and molders of reality, rather than these weak, ineffectual extensions that interpret an impossible to change external reality. You may need to listen to this over again because of the significance of what's being said here. But in our meditation, as we withdraw our senses away from what we're habituated to, and we find the power at the origin of our senses, then our senses then move out into the world as part of a collaborative, cooperative, creative co-creation, co-play with the universe and shape it into our meaning, our purpose, the desire of our life. That's a lot. So listen to it again if you have questions and think about it. I'll see you tomorrow.